Happy Friday. We are back for another episode of the Tech Behind FinTech. I'm here with a returning guest, friend of the show, Chiagozie Iwu. Listen, a lot has been happening. We're here to talk about a recent acquisition that just happened. He's CEO of Naijacrypto, recently got acquired by PowerDFI, and we're going to get into that, as well as overall the industry and so forth. Welcome back. How are you?
It's always a pleasure to be on your show, Nnamdi. I'm great. I'm doing very, very, very great. Yeah.
I thought you'll be on a yacht somewhere, popping champagne bottles around the world.
No. We ain't done that type of exit yet. That type of exit is gonna come, man. These my first exit, so just gotta get back into it immediately, if you know what I mean. So yeah.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Listen, like I said, you're a friend of the show. I'm always happy when you're on, an expert in the industry. So we're going to get into a lot of things. Overall, I want to get your take on the market. But before we get into that, even though you're a returning guest many times over, I think I should still do my necessary diligence and present your bio as I usually do. Chiagozie Iwu is the founder and CEO of Naijacrypto and the new head of blockchain and financial engineering at PowerDFI. He's a seasoned blockchain enthusiast and possesses ample experience formulating derivative contracts as well as portfolio structuring in both cryptocurrency and traditional markets. PowerDFI utilizes smart contracts via blockchain to make the staking of physical assets possible. PowerDFI not only tokenizes assets, but also instantly enables utility of tokenized assets by collateralizing and securitizing to streamline the lending process or smoothing staking a physical asset. Welcome to the show with that background. So I know when we did our previous episode, we talked about the Naijacrypto story, and for those, last week when I mentioned that you'll be a guest, I posted a link to that episode, so you could just see how you began, because you began not too long ago. I think it was 2019, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, April 2019.
Yeah. So it's an amazing run. So you began 2019, boom, 2020 lockdown hits. Now in 2022, you're exiting into bigger things. So definitely an amazing story. And I want to get into all that. But before we do, as usual, we talk about the news, especially right now in the blockchain and crypto industry. And I want to get your take on the overarching things that's going on. And then we can get into the Naijacrypto, PowerDFI, and what are the next steps. So right now, as you can see, right, they call this the crypto winter. Right, like a lot of and it's funny because at different points in time when you're on the show, these prices look clearly different to what's going on. So I just want to get your take. Like, what do you see? You run one of the major exchanges on the continent of Africa. Obviously, one of the biggest exchanges, if not the biggest, in Nigeria. So you're quite familiar with these prices on a day-to-day basis. And I want to get your take on the overall market. Let the audience know what's going on. What do you see?
Well, it's been, I can just say, it's been a reality check for the entire blockchain industry, to summarize it, right? Because, like you said, the last time we talked, I think Bitcoin was upwards of $40,000. Ethereum was basically above $4,000, and now it's below 20K, right? So, we had a lot of, I don't know whether to call it hype, unnecessary hype, but we had a buzz in 2021, right, with the NFT bubble. Before the NFT bubble was the DeFi bubble, so you had so many things sustaining the market on an upward trajectory, right? But a lot of the reality is beginning to hit when it comes to those bubbles, right? I've always been an advocate that it's not about the price of Bitcoin. I don't believe Bitcoin should be worth more than $10,000. It should be worth more than $8,000, by the way. But when you bring in a lot of speculative money into the industry, you have this short-term upfalls, right? But I believe that going forward, we're going to see a more sort of sustainable growth rather than just injected growth, right? We're going to see more sustainable growth in the industry, right? And yeah, you need these bear cycles, right? And of course, let's not forget about the fundamentals from the traditional markets that also affected all markets. But we used to say Bitcoin was supposed to be the hedge assets. It was supposed to be the digital gold, but we see the traditional markets are still affecting the cryptocurrency market. So it says a lot, man, about that the same boom and bust cycles affect crypto like traditional industry. It's a sign to crypto that, man, we still got a lot to do to break away from what's going on in TradFi.
I want to touch on something you just said. You said it's not about the price. Can we explore that? Because when people usually think about crypto, that's all they think about is the price, right? We obviously know that there's other utilities around blockchain as a technology and various verticals leveraging the blockchain technology. But a lot of people, just the general market, always talks about the price, not necessarily the utility, but just generally prices. When you said it's not just about the price, please clarify.
Okay, so I have this thing I always say, right, over and over again. Finance is the means to an end, not an end in itself.
Finance
understand?
Means to the end, not the end itself. It
Exactly.
sounds profound, but I'm gonna speak for the audience. What does that mean?
So it's not just something with the crypto market. It happens in every every market, even the traditional stock markets and all. But it's more in the crypto market because retail participation in the crypto market is actually very higher than what we see, right? So a lot of people look at these financial instruments as speculative assets, right? As a means to get sort of like rich, the price increase. I buy Bitcoin at 10K, I sell at 30K, I triple my money, and things like that. A lot of people see crypto as this, right? But people forget that, okay, what's the reason behind Ethereum? Ethereum token is not meant for you to make a bucklet of money. It's actually meant for you to pay gas fees on the Ethereum network. What's the use case behind BNB? It's for you to pay fees on the Binance Smart Chain. What's the use case behind XRP? It's supposed to be the feed token for the XRP network, which is supposed to be an alternative to banking systems like SWIFT and the SEPA and others, right? So there are utilities. Of course, we've got a lot of cryptocurrencies that have not so real utilities, right? But because of this, people have forgotten that these cryptocurrencies are supposed to be used for something. So it's not about the price. I don't care if Bitcoin is 100 grand. Yeah, I own some Bitcoin, I own some Ethereum, right? But is it being used for what it's supposed to be? I think the past 8 months has been a win for Ethereum because we've seen a lot of companies, right? A lot of traditional big boys diving into using the Ethereum networks or layer twos of Ethereum to build substantial products to drive some of their services and utility on the blockchain, right? But in that same time, where the capacity of Ethereum has increased, you've seen the price of Ethereum dropping because of other speculative reasons, right? So it's not just about the price; it's all about the use case, and it is something it is something we're trying to preach. It's something we're trying to get people out of, right? It's one of the reasons I believe in PowerDFI, and we'll go into that, right? Is one of the reasons we want to bring that mentality of speculation out of crypto. Crypto can get to 100K; it doesn't matter. The question is, how many people are using Bitcoin as a remittance tool? How many people are using Bitcoin outside the centralized financial system?
I know you've been huge on Bitcoin since the early days. I mean, our previous conversations, you talk about that. You've also been big on Ethereum for years now. On the topic of Ethereum, it's going to be moving, and proof of work going to be going live with proof of stake soon. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so it's a good one, right? It's a good one for the environment, right? For those of us that are fans of trying to make things in a more sustainable way, it's a big one. Ethereum moving to proof of stake. It's also a good one. Like there is this misconception that the proof of stake migration is going to improve network capacity and is not going to do that right now, right? But it has laid the foundation for further upgrades, right? So you would see a situation where Ethereum can comfortably expand its network capacity, its transaction processing speed, and transaction processing capabilities. But for now, it's just a consensus change. So you don't need the heavy GPUs anymore to be a validator on the Ethereum network, right? All you need to do is to own 32 Ethereum or thereabout. I'm not so clear with the number, right? And you're a validator and you're a stakeholder in the Ethereum network. So I think
Chiagozie, I think we pause for a second. All right, so probably happen. So this is an international Zoom call. There seems to be some pause in the. Let me add them back and see. All right, so while we wait for Chiagozie to come back, I think it's just a network issue going on. He was touching base on the market in general, looking at the prices. A couple of great points that he talked about was it's not about the price, it's more about the utility. And I think just overall that seems to be missed at times in terms of what's the actual original reason that some of these like Ethereum or XRP or BNB is actually being used. And you mentioned Ethereum on gas. And I know a lot of retail investors don't look at it like that, but it's true that was the originating thing. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who's tuning in. So we're going live right now on. Let me say we're live on Facebook. We're live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Twitch. We're also live on Instagram through another device on our mobile devices. Give a couple of waves out there to some of the people who joined us. So today's episode is the Naijacrypto story, like what happens after your fintech gets acquired. So the CEO of Naijacrypto, Chiagozie Iwu, he's a guest, and he will be discussing the acquisition that just took place and what are the next steps. So once again, in general, if you have any comments, please feel free to comment, and then you can be part of the show, and we'll list your comment on, from I hear it's coming right back. So, all right, so sorry. We didn't pay our gas fees, or what happened?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi went haywire.
Hey, no worries at all. I was just touching base, giving them some background that you're a friend of the show, CEO of Naijacrypto, and some of the things that we'll be discussing. I think we were going on I love the information that you were given on the next version of Ethereum with the proof of stake. I also wanted the audience to revisit what you said in terms of the original reasons that some of these platforms were developed, and the coins like Ethereum, XRP, and so forth, the functionality of it. And I think as retail investors, we tend to lose that sometimes. I want to jump into another article that I saw. NASDAQ joins BlackRock as Trade DeFi defies the bear market and embraces crypto. The down market hasn't stopped traditional finance's push into crypto as large players continue to pile into the industry, following the Warren Buffett's famous rule: be greedy only when others are fearful. These articles are interesting because another quote that he has: he doesn't invest in things he doesn't understand. So, but they take what they want to take. What are your thoughts on that comment right there?
Okay, yeah, like you say, they take what they want to take. I know that. It goes back to the point I was trying to make, right? Sincerely, the institutional participation in crypto has been heavier as far as trade is concerned, right? You've got more people pushing into this particular industry in one way or the other. Not just about cryptocurrency, but using blockchain technology to achieve one thing or the other, right? And yes, like I said earlier, right, is during these bear markets that a lot of unicorns are born. Unicorns are not born in the bull markets. A lot of bubbles and things that don't have so much effect are usually born in the bull market, but unicorns are born in the bear market, right? Because these are trying the time to push, right? Be greedy when others are fearful. The skepticism towards crypto is at an all-time high, especially on the retail side. If you see the greed and fear index, fear is what's taking the day. So I can't think of a better time to actually get in crypto, like they say, right? And sincerely, retail investors are not so difficult, right? They are not so difficult to match, right? Because when it comes to behavioral financial techniques, they tick all the boxes. Like, like it's almost easy, right? So you always know that these bear cycles, these bear and bust cycles always take the same trend. Bear people get scared, run away. A few people come in, the market goes haywire, and a few people profit and it busts again. So it's gonna keep happening like that. And it's a good one that Nasdaq. Nasdaq has been one of the among the top stock exchanges. Nasdaq has been the most tech friendly one, and of course, it's natural that Nasdaq comes into this.
I mean, what you're saying, I mean, we've seen this in all the different asset classes, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks. I have a background in real estate, so I can just speak to the investment. Yeah, did a lot of people lose money in '08? Yes, but those who held back and started to invest and got things rock bottom prices, and then were able to build their real estate portfolios, made a boatload around that time. So it's always that, right? I mean, it's a saying, right? Buy real estate when there's blood in the street, something like that. So but point being, same concept. Interesting stuff. I want to, before we jump into Naijacrypto, I also want to get your idea on a potential regulation in terms of, we've seen a record number of cybersecurity breaches. We've seen companies like Celsius and Voyager just stop withdrawals, and that's like the biggest fear thing, right? Like if you have an exchange, people have their crypto there, and just to wake up one day and say, you know what, you can't withdraw. Then the next day, oh, we're going bankrupt. By the way, we're filing a bankruptcy, and now you have no access to your funds. What are your thoughts on that?
This is interesting, right? Do you know who is the biggest critic of DeFi? Like one of the biggest critics of DeFi, CZ. CZ owns the biggest exchange in the world called Binance, and he's one of the biggest critics of DeFi. Let me get to you. Let me link this to your point, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of regulation, right? Sincerely, right, in the DeFi space, things have gone haywire. You just give an example of Celsius. I would always give an example of Terra Luna, what happened with the Luna token, right? And things like that. It has gone crazy. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? And it's one of the reasons, right? I believe Bitcoin should have been shedding its weight off a lot of things that are going on, and should be getting to 80 to 100 grand by now. But it's some of all these things that are driving the momentum that a lot of people are generating back, right? Because okay, what exists in form of DeFi today is people financing speculation. Oh, this DeFi protocol gives 10%, this DeFi protocol gives 9%. It's mostly what are the loans that these guys are giving out? They're still loaning out on the digital assets, which the aim of the lending is speculation. The yields come from either speculation or market making. So you find out that yields are not coming from real economic activity, but from financial activity, which is not supposed to be so, right? Yeah, derivatives can have that, but primary financial instruments should not have that characteristics. Neither should secondary financial instruments have that characteristic. So regulation is needed, right? So while I'm not a fan of regulation, right? But the way things are going these days is regulation is needed, right? Especially in the DeFi space. But however, regulators are not focusing on the wrong things, right? Yeah, what they're focusing on is cool, but they're not focusing on the things they're actually supposed to be doing to bring sanity to the space. So it's more of regulation tilted towards like some sort of law enforcement and some sort of like trying to get people to comply to AML. The regulation that makes sure that what people are offering is what it's supposed to be, right? So I think, okay, let me use a recent piece of revelation, for example, right? The situation with OFAC, the situation with OFAC and tornado crashing, right? So many people do not know this, right? But Ethereum validators are lying between the ocean and lying between the ocean and the deep blue sea. It's like the evils are just weighing them down, right? Because you have a situation whereby OFAC saying, okay, what address is linked to it that has any form of interaction, whether it just received 0.00000 recurring one Ethereum, that as long as that particular wallet address has had some interaction with Tornado Cash, it should any validator that validates a transaction that is associated with such a wallet is violating OFAC sanctions, right? You then have a situation where the Ethereum Foundation is saying that no, validators are not allowed to choose what they can validate. They are not allowed to do transaction censoring. Okay, so it's either you don't become a validator. So, like, who do you choose? Whose side do you go on? Do you go with the Ethereum network and say, no, we don't want transaction censoring? Or do you go with OFAC who says that, no, if you validate such transactions, you're committing a crime? So these are not well thought out regulations, right? Because
Yeah.
the way it should be written with deeper research and a deeper understanding of the sector. You're saying?
And that's the question I was going to have. Do you think it's a problem in which the people making the regulations have a lack of understanding of the underlying technology of what they're regulating?
Yes, exactly. So I've heard Yellen talk a bit about crypto regulation. I've also had a couple of I think the ECB lead. I don't remember name, but I've had a couple of top government officials talk about regulating the crypto sector. And when you see them come out and you're like, okay, no, this guy, this person does not really have a complete understanding of the sector. So yes, they do not have a complete understanding. And a lot of government officials. So let me bring it back to my home country, Nigeria, right? It's horrible. Like they have zero knowledge of the sector, right? And they don't have proper engagement with the players in the sector, which is a problem, right? Because if you don't know something, the players gotta teach you what's going on, right? But they don't have the proper engagement with players in the sector. These are the problems you should face. I remember we had like almost a 3-year dialogue with the SEC here in Nigeria, telling them this is how scams come out, this is how these sponsor schemes operate. We gave them a technological framework to even monitor exchanges. Like we literally gave them a framework to use to tax us. I don't know if you get what I mean. We gave them we taught them what to do, but at the end of the day, it turned out that okay, these guys did not understand anything. The broader regulations that were similar to how you regulate the stock markets, and like you wonder, like, okay, what's going on here, right? Because you're causing more harm than good. Because the bad actors find it easy to to go behind these regulations, to like bypass this regulation because they're not strong enough on the bad actors. But you're now making it for the legal actors. You're making things more stringent, which is counterproductive, basically.
No, interesting stuff. And then, now as we start to segue into Naijacrypto and PowerDFI is an American company. Naijacrypto is obviously, if you talk about one of the biggest exchanges in Nigeria. How does regulation work there? Like, what happens? Because now you have two regulatory governmental bodies that you have to adhere to. What are some of the complexities around navigating that?
Okay, so on the Naijacrypto side, yeah, we've been engaging with regulators for a while, right? But these are things, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, right? Let me start with the Naijacrypto side, the Nigerian side, right? Back in February 2021, right, the central bank did a very surprising policy that they didn't even warn anybody. Basically, so we had licenses to work with, right? The SEC had given us a framework to work with. We had some pseudo licenses, right? And many of us were about to become MSBs, right? So you could monitor us. You could, if there is illegal activity going on our platform, you would know. We have a more stringent AML and KYC policy than many Nigerian banks. In fact, than all the Nigerian banks, to be sincere, right? So we FAFTA rankings ranked most Nigerian banks as a D, but a lot of fintechs and blockchain companies in Nigeria have very good rankings because they have very good AML KYC policies better than the banking system. We're better at detecting fraud better than the banking system. So it was a surprise when the central bank, close all the bank accounts of any fintech company related to blockchain.
I remember that. I brought you on the show and we had a whole conversation.
Yeah.
The first time you were on the show, and then we really got into that. I remember that law that they passed at the time.
So what it did, right? So while we could still offer some products, right, we had to disengage so many other products, right? So we could offer some products via some other mechanisms, right, that makes us stay within the law, but we had to disengage a lot of other products. So yeah, it's not going to be easy navigating it, but we are always 3 steps ahead. That's just all I'm going to say, right? When it comes to the African situation, it's not just Nigeria. Naijacrypto operates in Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, Tanzania, Uganda, Cameroon, and the DRC. So we have like a whole day's job trying to understand governments, right? And these are all different governments with different regulations, right? So it's all about understanding what the government wants, what the government does not want you to do, and trying to navigate around that, and making sure that yes, your customer gets the best service possible, right? And it also created this less focus on retail and more focus on working with businesses, right? Because it's easier to get businesses. So, for example, now a retail user on Naijacrypto cannot do a transaction more than $10,000, right? But business users can transact up to $1 billion if they wish, right? So we've never had that, but they can. So
let's rewind to that. So I want to make sure we're clear on that. So in Naijacrypto for retail investors, those are retail investors in Nigeria or retail investors
all over Africa and
they
even in
can't,
the UK.
They can't transact for more than 1,000. You said they can't do transactions
more than $10,000.
More than 10,000. Okay, but now if you sign up as an institutional or a business, then you can do an unlimited amount.
Exactly, because we have a more stringent sort of like AML policy when working with businesses, right, than when it comes to retail.
And for those that don't know, AML, anti-money laundering, KYC, know your customer, know your client. Let's now get into Naijacrypto. Can we, before we, I think a good way to approach it, let's talk about Naijacrypto so people can get an understanding of exactly what you do. This is a screen grab of their website. And then I want to get into the acquisition, and then I'm going to get into PowerDFI. Does that work in terms of that sequence? Because I think it'll help people get the clear end-to-end picture.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So Naijacrypto, please. And like I said, you're literally a friend of the show. I think you might have the record for the most guest appearances, next to Renee Small, who's a super cybersecurity recruiter. So both of you have like record appearances on our show. Please get into Naijacrypto for those who might be the first time hearing this.
Okay, so what Naijacrypto is, right? It's a Pan-African crypto exchange, right? It's basically a crypto to fiat exchange, right? So it does not focus on just crypto to fiat. It also has a lot of other services, like we try to allow crypto staking, crypto-backed loans. We try to get people trade futures. We also have debit cards, right? Although that's not working perfectly right now, but we do have debit cards. And so basically, we try to offer what exchanges like Binance offer, but with a fiat taste, right? So it's all about, on Binance, for instance, right? Most of the pairs you're going to see are stable coin to USD, stable coin to crypto, right? But we try to do most fiat and exotic fiat, right? Like, for example, you will not see the Nigerian Naira listed anywhere, right? You will not see the Tanzanian shilling listed in any exchange, but you're going to see all that's listed on Naijacrypto. So we'll make it easier for people in those countries, right, to exchange crypto for fiat and vice versa in a peer-to-peer and open way, basically.
And for those who are not familiar, when he says fiat, it's another term in the crypto world they use for the actual local currency in your market, whether it's the Naira in Nigeria or the US dollar in America. So just FYI for those on Instagram and those on our other channels that may not be familiar. Sorry, please proceed.
All right, so yeah, that's the summary of what we do. We try to give those ramps, and on our B2B desk, we handle a lot of corporate remittance, right, via crypto. By the way, of course, you've got a lot of companies that do businesses in Nigeria. By the way, the B2B side is like over 70% of our revenue base. And it's the attractive part of Naijacrypto. Yeah, the retail is cool. We serve the retail clients, but the B2B is like the more attractive part of Naijacrypto. So we work with a lot of major companies, especially companies, maybe European companies, American companies, British companies who have a presence in Asian companies, right? Who have a presence in Africa, but have difficulty remitting their local currency to their home currency. So a lot of these people use stable coins, and they also have difficulty moving the USD to the African market. So we help them do this via USDC, USDT based remittances, and a lot of businesses have adopted the stable coins as the value pegger, if I may say. And we also help this company hedge the currency risk, also via USDC and USDT. Look at the Nigerian currency, for instance; it has lost 65% of its value just this year alone, right? So, but one of the things we do is that we protect how we offer products, right? We offer forward contracts, right? Nigerian naira against USDT that they could use to hedge against this currency risk, and this is a product that has been in very high demand this year. So yeah, that's the summary.
That's pretty amazing. Every time you come on, I learn something new about Naijacrypto. At what point did that flip? Was it always like that? So you started in 2019. Right now, you said the greater percentages are business customers on the site. Was it always like that, or did it flip at a certain point?
Oh no, it did
Retail,
flip, right?
obviously, personal.
Right, we started with more retail, right? I think as at August 2019, we just had 6 corporate clients, right?
Yeah.
We were doing less than $1 million in corporate volumes a month, right? So it was just less than $1 million, right? So this flipped sometime in December 2020, January 2021, right? Where with Naijacrypto we reduced that almost by 90%, and by 2020 we stopped that completely, right? So we did not sell the company, by the way. The Nigerian registration, the US registration of CI Crypto Solutions still belongs to I and my co-founder, right? But what we sold was the product. It was more of a product sell because PowerDFI needs the product, they need the technical infrastructure, they need the users, they need the revenue coming from that product, right? So what we sold was more or less products, right? And yeah, CI Crypto Solutions still exists, by the way. I and my co-founder will be taking a more active lead in the running of CI Crypto Solutions, right? And we also get some shares. I'll be very little, but we also get some shares of PowerDFI also, right? So yeah, it's cool. It's a project that
That's a very interesting structure. One that I like. I think about similar structure. So just to reiterate that, I do remember like when you first came on, it was always CEO of CI Crypto Solutions. We own Naijapay, IO, Naijacrypto, and all these different products. So the acquisition itself is one of the products under CI Crypto Solutions. CI Crypto Solutions still exists, but it's only that one product. Well, I think you had Naijapay as well.
Yeah, actually, Naijapay is also included, but they're all based on a very low, way low valuation, so it's insignificant. It's not Naijacrypto. Yeah.
Okay, but the parent company CI Crypto Solutions, that's still owned by you and your co-founder, and these products have been sold. So theoretically, in the future, other products can be made and sold.
We still have some working products, by the way. We've got market making algorithm that a lot of companies are using, right? So we still got some working products, right? But that's the story for another day.
Good. I'm totally amazed by your work. Obviously you can't tell by my accent, but Nigerian. for the hoodies, tell by the name. But listen, man, from day one of having you on my show and meeting you and hearing what you're doing to then constantly having you on the show to talk about the market, the news, but then touching base on what you're doing. Extremely proud, extremely inspired, right, by the movement, and just happy at the way the movie is progressing. We're not far from the end of the movie, but I'm sitting in the movie and I like the show. I like what I'm watching. I like what I'm seeing. Extremely entertaining and it's great. And it's just a wonderful thing. And I think even for what you're doing with just broadcasting Nigeria, and you can actually start businesses there, because sometimes it's more so a lot of people going backwards and let me see how I could use the US dollar, and then but some homegrown solution now from there expanding globally, man. It's totally amazing. I don't have a hat, but if I did, I would take it off for you right now. But yeah, man.
It's still a process. It's still a process, man, and we still hope to do a lot, man. I think this is just the beginning.
Oh, and that's why I said the movie's far from over. I'm watching it. It's a great movie. I've been watching it for, I think, I don't remember the first time it feels like you've been on the show so many times, but I would say maybe more than a year ago, like early,
over a year, about 17 months ago. If I recall.
Yeah, so and I just like the way it's turning out, man. Every time you come on, it's something new, it's something different, and this is obviously one of the major milestone. Listen, you called it. I would love to bring on the PowerDFI. Let's do a panel and let's really just dive into the model itself, because if we use real estate as a use case, I could really start really diving in just based on so I'm just now curious, because it's a potential service that I might want to leverage, So I'm definitely interested in that, man. Before we close out, how can people find you?
Okay, you can reach us for PowerDFI. You can reach us on PowerDFI.com. That's PowerDFI.com. And Naijacrypto remains the same. Naija Crypto.com, right? And you could always reach us on our social media: DeFi Power on Twitter, LinkedIn, PowerDFI, Naijacrypto, Real Naijacrypto on Twitter. And Naijacrypto on LinkedIn and Facebook. So all of our social media is on the first page of the website below, right? So Telegram and all the other things there. So just Naijacrypto.com, PowerDFI.com. Yeah.
All right, great stuff. To all the audience members, once again, thank you very much for tuning in. It's a lot of lessons here, and just from talking about the market. So if you are a founder CEO, what the whole process of getting acquired and some of the lessons, and if you're starting, some of the things to look out for, especially the bootstrapping aspect and being profitable as soon as possible. Thank you once again, Chiagozie, for being on the show, man. It's always a
pleasure, man.
I definitely will like to bring you on as more as we do, to give more overview and insight on the blockchain and crypto world, and we'll set that up based on your schedule. To everyone on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, thanks for joining the show sponsored by Strategic Generation. We provide SOC 2 servicing for fintechs as well as cybersecurity consulting. So that will be a wrap up to everyone. Have a great weekend. Cheers to the audience. Stay on 1 second. I'll talk to you behind the scenes.
Yeah.